Good vibes, everybody. Welcome back again to another episode of the Political Puff Podcast with my brother Push.
Always, brother Fitz.
You know it. And he said, LA Fitz is my name, and Political Puff Podcast is our game. Thank you guys for tuning in again. We really appreciate everybody tuning in, watching some of our past videos. So today we're getting into another heavy subject as usual, so that should surprise you. The gods that require sacrifice versus the God of mercy.
Of mercy.
And we're going to get into Leviticus, actually, is where we're going to start this this story today. So, Brother Push, if you'd like to enlighten our audience on the gods that require sacrifice versus the God of mercy.
Yes. So inside of Leviticus is what we're looking at. Inside of chapter 1, verse 2 is where we're starting. But we're looking at Leviticus because, we're told that these are the laws that we weren't upholding. These are the laws that we didn't keep. And because we didn't keep these laws right here, we suffered calamity, or at least the people inside of the Bible suffered some form of punishment because they didn't follow these commandments. But as I read these commandments, it makes me wonder, and it makes me question the actual God that is requiring them to do these sacrifices. And if they don't do it, they will be punished, So we're going to look at Leviticus chapter 2 to try to look inside of this to understand these gods that are in Leviticus. And there is another voice inside of the Bible that seems to kind of go against what the gods in Leviticus are requiring. So we're going to go into that, and Brother Fitz.
So Leviticus chapter 1, verse 2 through 4, I'm going to read 2. Speak unto the children of Israel, and say unto them, if any man of you bring an offering unto the Lord, ye shall bring your offering of the cattle, even of the herd, and of the flock.
So even when you look at this part, and it's telling you about what offerings you should bring, the cattle is a plant-eating animal, it's always asking for the plant-eating animal. And this is one of my issues that I have with Leviticus. It's because it's literally asking for the sacrifice of the animal. And we're trying to understand what God is requiring the sacrifice of anything. Why does it need some form of sacrifice? Like, why does man have to prove itself to this God right here? And if we look a little further, and we look at chapter 1, verse 4. We'll look at that one.
Okay. And he shall put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering, and it shall be accepted for him to make atonement for him.
See, here we go right here. In order for you to correct whatever wrongs that this God don't like you, like that you did, you would have to kill an animal. You would have to put his hand upon the head of the burnt offering. I don't understand what type of blood sacrifice could clean up any wrongdoing of a man, outside of a simple apology, but we'll look at even we'll go a little further. Let's look at 10. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna look at 10 real quick. Chapter 1, verse 10. Because this one was pretty interesting too.
And if his offering be of the flocks, namely of the sheep or of the goats, for a burnt sacrifice, he shall bring it a male without blemish.
again, it's the sacrifice of the clean animal. This is the reason why we keep kind of like why we're reading, verses 4, 5, and 10 like this, because it's a point of why we're saying that the clean animal is constantly being ordered to be killed, and it's being used as some way to cleanse your sin, a way to clear yourself, So we want to remember this right here, that in the first chapter of Leviticus, that it's telling you to like to kill the clean animals, the cattle, that eats the fruit of the tree or the grass, and even on the other side, the flocks, the sheep, those things that eat the grass or the fruit of the tree, and it's a reason why we're saying this right here, because they shouldn't be killing these animals. And we're going to show in a minute why they shouldn't kill these animals. But we're going to look over here at 15, actually 14. Let's look at 14.
And if the burnt sacrifice for his offering to the Lord be of fowls, then he shall bring his offering of turtle doves or of young pigeons.
So what you've had was the cattle being told. What you've had was the sheep being told to be killed. What you have is the pigeons and turtle doves, which is, these things does not eat meat. There's a point that we're going to be making with this right here when we're talking about the gods that require sacrifice versus the God of mercy. So there's these gods that requires the sacrifice, and they are asking or telling the people in Leviticus that they must kill these animals in order to atone for their sins. And we want to look at something a little more, because they're not just killing the animals, it's how they kill the animals. So we'll look at 15, chapter 1, 15.
And the priest shall bring it upon the altar, and wring off his head, and burn it on the altar. And the blood thereof shall be wrung out at the side of the altar.
You really have to rip the animal's head off. It says, and the priest shall bring it onto the altar and wring his neck.
And we all know when you wring something, it doesn't say chop off his neck. It says wring it. That means you're going to grab and twist and pull.
That is, it's cruel.
Right. And also, Push, when we were talking about this earlier, if you noticed when we were reading on back on 10, and it says, and if his offering be of the flocks, namely meaning specifically, everybody. So specifically of the sheep or of the goats. And like Brother Push was saying, the sheep and the goats, those are two animals that do not eat meat.
Yes.
They do not eat meat.
They do not.
So it's letting you know, namely of these. When we go and talk about turtle doves or of young pigeons up in 14, same thing, two animals. He says, if it says of the fowl, if it's going to be of the fowl, then specifically the turtle doves or the young pigeons. So this God also has like a type. He has like specifics that specifics animals.
Yes.
He's not just saying all. So
and that's why I said, when you start looking at these animals, well, what do they have in common? They all eat the fruit of the tree.
Absolutely.
So we're going to look at what God created these animals that eat the fruit of the tree. So we're going to turn the page. We're going to go to Genesis chapter 1. So we're going to flip back all the way back to Genesis.
So we're going to go chapter 1, verse 27 through 30.
Yep.
So God created man in his own image. In the image of God created he him. Male and female created he them.
Okay, this is your creator. This is the one who made male and female. So we're going to go further, but we're not going to even read 28. We want to get to the point of this in particular God and what separates him. We're going to look at 29 and we're going to look at 30.
And God said, Behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree, in the which is the fruit of a tree, yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat.
Okay. So this God right here gave male and female the fruit of the tree to eat. That is the meat that they're supposed to eat. Okay. And 30. So we're going to look in 30. This is interesting here.
And to every beast of the earth, and to every fowl of the air, and to everything that creepeth upon the earth, wherein there is life, I have given every green herb for meat. And it was so.
So the beast, the fowl, and everything creeping had to eat the fruit of the tree also. So it's easy to understand that the God in chapter 1, verse 27, has commanded male and female and the animals to eat the fruit of the tree. And when you get over into Leviticus, it's being told to kill the animals that eat the fruit of the tree. The cattle is a plant eating animal, sheep, plant eating animal, a pigeon, plant eating animal. This is the what we're trying to correlate from one end to the other, is that there is a God that's requiring sacrifice, and it's always requiring the sacrifice of the clean animals. But there's also a God in chapter 1, verse 27, who is saying you are to eat the fruit of the tree, and the animals are supposed to eat the fruit of the tree, and the fowls, birds, and the creeping things. They're all supposed to eat the fruit of the tree. So, what God in Leviticus is requiring man to kill cattle to atone for its sin? This is the question that we're asking. So we're going to take a look at what God's is requiring the sacrifice. So we're going to look at Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. So what we're going to do is just shift over. And there they go right there. 26, chapter 1, verse 26.
And God said, Let us make man in our image, after our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth.
So Genesis chapter 1, you have one creator who made the world, made all things, a singular creator. That creator is in chapter 1, verse 27. And then you have multiple gods talking in chapter 1, verse 26. The let us make man in our image. See, these are two gods. These two gods is on a creation run. The God in chapter 1, verse 27 is the original creator. The original creator made the world for man and animal, and they were all supposed to eat the fruit of the tree. No one would die because there's no desire to eat each other. When you get to the gods of chapter 1, verse 26, the let us make man in our image, those gods right there go on a creation run. And their creation run is chapter 2 and pretty much on. We're going to show where the God of chapter 127 has what you call sporadic showcases. Like you hear small lines of his throughout the scriptures, but it's never really big, you know. So we're going to take a look at Genesis chapter 9, verse 3, because the gods of chapter 1, verse 26, they are the ones who are commanding. They are the ones who are commanding the eating and the flesh sacrificing of the animals. So we're going to turn the page. There we go. Chapter 9. That is verse 3. Yes.
Through 5.
Through 5.
Every moving thing that liveth shall be meat. for you. Even as the green herb have I given you all things.
Okay. If you will look at this, because I'm just scrolling around right here. So we'll look at 3 right here. It says right here in 3, every moving thing that lives shall be meat for you. Now, the God in verse 127, chapter 1, verse 27, has commanded you to eat the fruit of the tree, the animal to eat the fruit of the tree. And then when you get to chapter 9, you're being told that every moving thing shall be meat for you. It's being told that you can kill the animals. That's why I said in chapter 1, verse 26, this God is different because it's on its creation piece and it's okaying the killing of the animals, which when you go down into Leviticus, these gods are requiring you to kill the animals, and specifically, like it said in there, Brother Fitz, it said, namely,
Namely.
the sheep, namely, so
Yes.
namely the clean animals.
Yes.
You see what I'm saying? So then we get up there to 5, verse 5. So, we're going to bring this right here to see verse 5.
Okay. And surely your blood of your lives will I require. At the hand of every beast will I require it. And at the hand of man, at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man.
So in chapter 9 again, and in verse 3, it was giving you permission to eat the flesh. In verse 5, it's telling you that it requires the blood of your life, and it requires the blood of animals, and it also requires the blood of your brother. And here we go again. We're trying to figure out what gods are requiring this. What God is requiring this? Because the first God, chapter 1, verse 27, he's eaten the fruit of the tree for man and animal. So it shows that there is 2 gods. There is a God out there who requires mercy, and then there's gods out there that require sacrifice. And just to really punch this home, we're going to turn one over and we're going to look to chapter 8, verse 20. So it's right over to the side.
Got it.
Verse 20.
And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar.
Okay. So Noah took all the clean animals and killed them. In Leviticus, it's requiring you to take all the clean animals and kill them. It said, namely the sheep, namely. So if you look in Leviticus in the first chapter, it's literally telling you the animals that eat the fruit of the tree. Every last one of those animals eat grass or some type of fruit of the tree. They do not eat meat. And Noah is killing the clean animals. He's killing the clean animals as a form of sacrifice. Well, when you look over at chapter 9, verse 5, you can see that there is a God that has required him to kill the clean animals, to kill animals in general. It says, and surely your blood of your lives will I require, chapter 9, verse 5, at the hand of every beast will I require it, and at the hand of man, he will require man to kill man and beast. And at the hand of every man's brother will I require the life of man. So this God requires sacrifice, these gods. So the gods in chapter 1, verse 26, to make man in our image, those are the gods that are requiring the sacrifice in chapter 9, verse 5, with you having to kill your brother and animals. It's the one that's telling Noah to kill all the clean animals in chapter 8, verse 20. And when you get to Leviticus, those gods are the gods that are saying if you don't do these sacrifices, then there will be some type of repercussion on you. There will be some form of punishment, to be honest with you, you know? It is something to really look at. But inside of all that darkness right there, we got to understand that the Bible, it's filled with a lot of riddles. And we're going to show you in the same book in Leviticus, there is words of mercy. Like there is something else that speaks in that book that doesn't agree necessarily with how chapter 1 of Leviticus goes. Because chapter 1 of Leviticus is like, kill all the animals, kill all the clean animals as a form of sacrifice, even to the point of telling you to wring the animal's neck, you know, destroy it and hurt it.
Right.
You know, so we're going to look at, we're going to jump over to Leviticus. I'm going to go back to Leviticus chapter 11. Leviticus chapter 41 is so important.
Here we go. Chapter 11, verse 41. And every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth shall be an abomination, and it shall not be eaten.
It says, and every creeping thing that creeps upon the earth shall be an abomination. It shall not be eaten. It's telling you every creeping thing that is eaten is an abomination. You should not be eating.
It shall not be eaten.
You should not be eating.
That means it is unfit for food.
Now, in Genesis chapter 9, verse 3, it told you that everything that liveth and walks is meat for you. And you're getting over here to Leviticus chapter 41, and it's telling you that even creeping things are an abomination to eat. That's that small voice of the God in chapter 1, verse 27, the one that created the world. It's like this small voice that exists inside of there saying, hey, don't eat the meat, even though there is something of a greater voice speaking, saying, this is the sacrifice that I require. So let's look at 42.
Whatsoever goeth upon the belly, and whatsoever goeth upon all four, or whatsoever hath more feet among all creeping things that creep upon the earth, them ye shall not eat, for they are an abomination.
I'm going to read that again. So whatsoever goeth on the belly, snakes, alligators,
lizards,
whatsoever goes upon all four, horses, bears, zebras,
giraffes,
cattle, sheep.
Yes. Goats.
Wait a minute. The things that Leviticus said told you to what?
To namely eat too, on top of that. To namely eat.
Sacrifice. To namely sacrifice. It just said, whatsoever goes upon the belly, and whatsoever goes upon all fours, or whatsoever has more feet among all creeping things that creeps upon the earth, them ye shall not eat. It just said don't eat nothing with 4 legs. It said don't eat nothing with a bunch of legs as creepy animals. It's saying do not eat. If it's telling you do not eat those things, that's that same God that's sitting there telling you in chapter 1, verse 27, that I gave man the fruit of the tree. I gave the beast, the fowl, and all creeping things the fruit of the tree. And nevertheless, the gods of chapter 1, verse 26 is telling Noah, it's telling Adam, it's telling Moses, you must sacrifice. You must sacrifice. And this what brings it in, that bloodline of Adam. If you notice, the Bible only talks about Adam's bloodline. So when we're in Leviticus, the star players of this book is what? From Adam's bloodline. You see what I'm saying? So they're being told, hey, I need sacrifice, but there is another voice that's saying, don't do this. And if we go over here and we look at what is it, 45? Is it
40,
43?
43.
43. 43.
Ye shall not make yourselves abominable with any creeping thing that creepeth, neither shall ye make yourselves unclean with them, that ye she be defiled thereby.
It says, ye shall not make yourself abominable, unfit to serve, with any creeping thing that creeps. I think that's a different conversation than what we heard in chapter 1
Yes.
of Leviticus. You see what I'm saying? And this is what I'm trying to get the audience to even understand, is that you cannot read the Bible on its face. You're going to run into a riddle. You're going to run into words or a conversation that is necessarily not corresponding with the rest of the book or the rest of the story inside of the book. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So what you have right here is Leviticus. You're being told to sacrifice the animals, but also in Leviticus, you're being told, do not mess with the animals. So now you're stuck with this piece, like we named it, the gods that what? Require
sacrifice
versus the God that requires what?
Mercy.
You see what I'm saying? Because the God that requires mercy, you will be eating the fruit of the tree.
Absolutely.
The God that requires sacrifice, well, you will be killing the animals. Okay, right. So who is the God that requires mercy? In chapter 1, verse 27, that is that God.
That is that God.
Who is the God that requires sacrifice? In chapter 1, verse 26, those make us in our image gods. They are the ones who are requiring sacrifice.
Especially of clean animals.
Of clean animals.
Namely of clean animals.
Namely of clean animals. So we're going to go and we're going to jump into Hosea. We're going to do a big leap over here into Hosea. Because this one is going to help you understand. This is going to help you understand what all this comes into play, what this all mean right here. Chapter 6, verse 6, Hosea.
Here we go. For I desired mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings.
Okay, so here's that silent voice again that exists inside of the scripture that is literally telling you, for I desire mercy and not sacrifice, and the knowledge of God more than burnt offerings. So the creator would rather you know him more than for you to go and kill any animal. Plus, he does not require any sacrifice. Well, how do you know the God of chapter 1, verse 27 is this God? Because it told you to eat the fruit of the tree.
Yes. And I think something that I wanted to speak up specifically on this push, it says, for I desired mercy. Mercy meaning to forgive in a position where you have the power to harm or hurt a person, right?
Yes.
So I'm wondering, was when he's saying, for all I required or desired was mercy, is this God saying that he required us as humans to have mercy upon the animals by not slaying and killing them? And I feel like when he says because we can't have mercy on the God,
creator,
right?
no.
So when he's saying I desired mercy, I'm thinking, okay, desired mercy for who? Because it can't be mercy from us. I'm thinking mercy for the animals that they gave us dominion over, because the God has dominion over us, and then the humans have dominion over the animals, showing the same mercy that he shows as to humans having to show mercy upon the animals. So that's kind of what I took from that.
Yes. So look, he's not killing us, so we don't supposed to what? Kill them.
Absolutely.
He requires mercy.
Right.
We're getting he's giving it to us.
Right.
But when you look at this deeper, and this is why I said, The gods of chapter 1, verse 26 are the ones who have Adam's line. Adam, Noah, and Moses during these sacrifices. Even Abraham was tempted to put his son and kill his son.
Right.
You know?
It's Hosea verse 7.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. But they, like men, have transgressed the covenant. There have they dealt treacherously against me.
Right here. This is going to be a little tricky piece.
And I'll read it again, too, with the fill-ins as well, if you like.
Because this one right here has to be really, really looked at right here. So it's saying, but they, like men, have transgressed against the covenant. Now, there's a small t between they and like. It says, but they. And then if you look down below, it said, like Adam. So it says, but they, like Adam, has transgressed the covenant. There's a T next to covenant, and it says agreement. So it says, but they, like Adam, has transgressed the agreement. There have they dealt treacherously against me. It just told you right there that Adam and his family
and his
line
people
go against the one creator.
And specifically saying, again, folks, saying, but they, like Adam, saying that, just like I said, specifically, like Adam, have transgressed against the agreement. There have they dealt treacherously against me.
That's pretty simple. That is self-explanatory.
Yes. You could also say that he crossed them. Little political puff pun right there.
You know, but the point comes back to that even the Bible is saying that Adam transgressed against the original covenant, which was for man to eat the fruit of the tree and for animal to eat the fruit of the tree. But there's another God that comes in verse 1, 26, chapter 1, verse 26 of Genesis. That God right there, those gods, those are the ones right there that are literally telling Adam and his line that they must do this form of sacrifice.
All right. And even at the end of 7, when it says they dealt treacherously against me, me being singular, again, also showing that we're talking about the one God that is the God of mercy.
Yeah. Transgressed.
Yes.
And that is the point that we're trying to bring about to everyone, is that the gods that require sacrifice is in Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. The God that requires mercy is in Genesis chapter 1, verse 27. And the people in Leviticus are following the gods of Noah, Adam, Moses. Well, it says right here in Hosea chapter 6, verse 7, but they, like men, but they, with that T, but they, like Adam, has transgressed against the covenant. There's a T there, against the agreement. And it's saying, there have they dealt treacherously against me. But what did Adam and his family do that was so treacherous against the Most High? They killed his animals. They killed people. That is what made them treacherous. We don't want to, you have to understand, it's always going to be, it's like, this is new knowledge, I guess, to everybody, that male and female was made in the 6th day, and Adam and Eve was made after the 7th day. So the creator, the original creator, made male and female. And then in chapter 1, verse 26 of Genesis, you have another group coming and creating an Adam and an Eve. And this Adam and Eve went against the law of the original creator, which was, you're supposed to eat the fruit of the tree. There's another God that's telling them, eat something else, kill these animals right
Yes.
here, kill these particular animals right here. And this is all the Most High's animals. Leviticus is requiring you to kill the Most High's animals.
Barbecue them.
That is real.
Yeah, and barbecue them. So, again, guys, this was a big lesson that we wanted to take on, and we wanted to really share this with you guys. As usual, Brother Push, do you have anything that you want to close with on this?
It's just time for us to understand that there's a narrative being given to us out there. So we want to be understanding about that right there, because a lot of people is going to say Leviticus is good for you. The Most High does not want you to kill animals.
And lastly, before we get out of here, too, Brother Push, you also showed me something with this lesson. If you look a lot through Leviticus, you will see a lot of burnt offering, sacrifice, ritual, burnt offering, sacrifice, ritual. You'll see a lot of that in Leviticus. That's one of the reasons that we actually kind of looked into Leviticus, because Brother Push was like, hey, let's take a look. There's a lot of, illicit things, and he was right. And it's very repetitive in a lot of the things that we looked at. So, we do thank you guys for tuning in with us and checking out the lesson. And we hope that we were able to shed some light on this for you. So, and we hope that you continue to follow us. Don't forget to check out our IG page, Political Puff. As well as, is it political underscore puff?
Yes,
political underscore puff. And puffview.com as well. And like I said, there's a lot of videos and different, and you'll be able to see the visuals and things of that nature. Thank you for supporting our YouTube page. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We always appreciate the good vibes and all the people that do support and listen to us. Once again, Brother Push.
Always.
And myself, Mr. L.A. Fitz, we are out.